tax, you get less of. That's another thing we can remember. So if you're going to tax transactions, you're going to get fewer transactions. And people will absolutely do. They'll start trading in cash. But right along with your question, and it's, we have this question of printing money that also has to be one of our subjects down here. The government right now is borrowing 43 cents of every dollar it spends. 43 cents. If you did that, you would be absolutely broke. So 43% of every expenditure made is borrowed and generated from China. China has begun to turn the tap down, and they've tried to turn it off a couple of times, but Mr. Geithner has run over there. If you watch closely, you've seen him run to China a couple of times. Japan, and say you got to keep buying our treasury bills, because that's how we borrow money. You can only raise money by three ways. You can increase taxes, which kill jobs. You can borrow the money, which puts our future generations at risk and also then destabilizes our economy. And then you can print money. As countries find that they can't borrow money anymore, they begin to print it. And so we're headed down a track exactly like Argentina. Argentina in the early 1900s had an economy better than the U.S. economy. Better. Second in the world, if I'm not mistaken. And they began to make the same choices we're opting toward right now. Big government and big unions. And when they made those choices, they finally reached a point to where no one would loan them money, so they began to print it. Last year, the inflation in Argentina was 1,500%. If you had $1,500 in the bank at the beginning of the year in your savings account, at the end of the year, it's worth $100. That's where we're headed if we continue. And so, is it happening already? Yes. Price of vegetables in the last year has gone up 50%, 56%. Price of gold every day, I haven't watched the last 3 or 4 days, but was setting all-time highs above 1,300. Now, gold is not worth any more money. They don't use it for anything they didn't use it for 2 weeks ago. It's being pushed up, not because it's worth more, it's that our dollars are worth less. And that's what that's what happens when you print money. So we're already putting our banks at risk. We already risk tremendous economic chaos if we don't begin to live within our means to create jobs. Again, a 3.5% rate of growth, I want to put that up here, 3.5% rate of growth is a target that we can live with and will help us survive. Very serious things that we're doing in D.C. right now, and most of them are headed the wrong direction for stability of the economy and stability of our social system. That is our civilization. Let's take a quick, anybody running for office, raise your hand here. I'd just like to recognize people that are running for office because this is tough work. And so just give us your name and what you're running for.
Wayne Oliver, Sheriff.
Yes.
Pat Kennedy, probate judge.
Yes.
Linda Peacock, State Representative, District 39.
Any others? All right. Know that these people cared enough to come out tonight to shake hands with you. This is always tough to get a group together. And it is. It's hard to reach people. So be sure and walk up and tell them, even if you don't like what they stand for, thank them for coming. We got a couple of elected officials. Murray Ryan has been in office forever over here, and I served in the legislature with him. I want to recognize him. A great Grant County guy. We have a mayor here from over in Santa Clara. Stand up and tell the people.
The mayor of Santa Clara. Nice to meet you all, and appreciate all your support.
Okay. Any other elected officials here? Okay, thanks. Let's get back to the questions. That's a nice interlude. 1, 2, 3. All right. Kind of tough for these things. That makes it easier. All right, yes, sir.
Oh, Jim Greenwood here. I just have a question for you, and I don't want to put you on the spot here.
Nobody else worried about that.
We have, back to the debt question, phenomenal debt.
Yeah.
At the federal level. Almost phenomenal debt state level. And then this, I'm like everybody else in this room. My job, what I do for a living, a big chunk of it comes out of the government. People get checks from the government. My whole neighborhood is getting checks from the government. What are we going to cut? How are we going to get a handle on a debt that's bigger than all the rest of the world combined if none of us are willing to cut it? What are you gonna cut?
Absolutely. Great question. First of all, and this is a push that I'm having with our leadership, that we can't lose sight of the main target. Cutting is fine, but we can't fix things by cutting. I will just tell you that. It's not fixable. You can't cut enough to fix. And so as we have all these suggestions that we're going to do this and that, I'm saying please get on this message. Growth is the only solution for anything. We are in desperate condition. We must start creating jobs. Now then, over here, we then should be tracking spending and what we can cut. The first thing I would cut, and you would think it amazing that we have not already done it, but in Medicare, we have 90 billion a year in fraud. That's not the waste, just fraud. And we know it and can measure it. In Medicaid, there is another 60. That's $150 billion. 150. 150 would cut every tax where people are pouring capital back into their company, creating jobs. You could eliminate those taxes and do that. Or 150 billion. I'm not saying that we want to keep the healthcare system that was passed because I think it's wrong. But 150 would fund that with no tax increases. You see the potential. Also, we must look at the unfettered growth of the bureaucracies. We in DC, this is the pipeline, and so we put money, we put dollars into the pipeline, and then your services are measured by the flow of water that comes out. The leakages are to the bureaucracies, and we can increase budgets almost double them without tremendous advantages out here. A good example is the Veterans Department. When I got there, spending was about 33 B. And, but before I left, I think it was something like, I don't know, 90, something like that, and it's up close to 120. I will guarantee you don't have 4 times the benefit service here. Instead, the money is soaking up there. We're hiring more people.